I'll be looking at the front pages of our national dailies. We'll be starting with a Daily Trust right in front. We have a Daily Trust investigation 69 days after launch. Farmers await federal government's tractors. That's on pages 3 and 4 of a Daily Trust. Right in front, we have a story of action points and measurable benchmarks of how Governor Buni's action revive, accelerate basic education, secondary education in UB State. We have statistics right in front. We have 300 schools reconstructed from insurgency attacks, 14 new mega and model schools built, 3 billion naira payment for Wike, NECO, NAPTEB, MBIS and BEXE exams in 2025. We have 448 classrooms renovated, 2.3 billion naira provision of solar-powered electricity in 72 schools, 627 new classrooms built, 9,452 teachers trained, 61, that's the number of schools fenced, 10 new government girls senior secondary schools established. That's 178 number of blocks of toilets constructed, 40,000 UOB students paid annual scholarship, 35 number of the solar-powered boreholes drilled. We have 2,200, that's sets of teachers furniture procured. Now, 5,000 teachers recruited, 750 million naira used for construction of 150 Almajiri shades, that is schools, 171, that's the number of recently inducted students in medical and allied fields. We have 233, that's the number of beneficiaries of Buni Scholarship Program. We have 85,550, that's sets of classrooms, furniture procured. We have 4 billion naira, that's the amount spent annually on school feeding. And we have numerous numbers of books, lab equipment procured for schools. We have 60,000 adolescent girls on conditional cash transfer. And then we have a picture from left, Nafisa Abdullahi, Rukaya Muhammad Fema and Hadiza Kashim Kadli of Yobe NTIC students who won medals at the Team Eagle Global Finals in London, United Kingdom recently. That's all on the front pages of Daily Trust. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay informed.
All right, then we move to the Punch this morning, and the bolder headline states: Rivers local government poll Atiku demand annulment as Wike reasserts control. Fubara losses local government, APC wins 20 local government areas, PDP claims 3, FCT ministers control temporary, says Rivers elders, and that's on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. And then just below the bolder headlines, okay, just above the bolder headlines, we have reps deny alleged plant shutdown with speaker. And that's on page 8 of the Punch newspaper. We have Northwest leads in FEC projects with 5.97 trillion naira, says federal government. That's on page 25 of the Punch newspaper. And then just beside it, we have infractions. Federal government threatens to disconnect GenCos from power grid, and that's on page 30 of the Punch newspaper. And then we have Tinubu police mourners ex-IGRSA dies at 69. That's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper. Do well to get yourself a copy to stay informed.
All right, next up, we have Vanguard newspaper right in front. We have petrol consumption down 28%. Ipman groans. Operators recount ordeal list causes pump hands idle at station. It's trying time for us, says marketers. Frequent price changes unhealthy for sector, expert warns. That's on page 23 of Vanguard newspaper. Right on top on the left, we have Union Bank completes merger with Titan Trust Bank. Tinubu has been fair to all sections of Nigeria, says federal government. That's on page 5 of Vanguard. We have wage increase. NECA NLC urge states to emulate Imo and Ebonyi. That's on page 11 of Vanguard newspaper. No sabotage in Abuja, Kaduna train derailment, says federal government. That's on page 9 of Vanguard newspaper. 2027, Kiyamo warns PDP against fielding Jonathan Obi. You can't decide our candidate, PDP replies minister. That's on page 8 of Vanguard newspaper. Rivers local government polls, APC sweeps 20 councils, PDP 3. Wike hails exercise, Atiku rejects result. That's on page 12 of Vanguard newspaper. Rwanda's Vubi storm in Nigeria tomorrow. That's on sports. That's on page 38 of Vanguard newspaper. Make sure you grab yourself a copy and stay updated.
All right, then we move to Nigerian Tribune, and the bolder headline says, no region playing second fiddle, none ignored, says federal government. Alleges distortion of fact figures, biggest beneficiary of project. Says verifiable data shows Northwest as least project locations cost. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. And just beside it, we have Tinubu Egbeto Kunmon passing of ex-IGP RSA. That's on page 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then also we have 4.8 billion naira railway earnings threatened as Abuja Kaduna Warri Itakpe halt train services. Minister rules out sabotage on Abuja Kaduna derailment. That's on pages 5 and 30 of the Nigerian Tribune. And then we have getting a bad night's sleep 3 consecutive days raises heart disease risk, study once. That's on page 3 of the Nigerian Tribune. And Union Bank completes merger with Titan Trust Bank. That's on page 6 of the Nigerian Tribune. Why it is risky for PDP to field Jonathan Obi, says Keyamo. That's on page 3 of the Guardian, of the Nigerian Tribune, I beg your pardon. And then we have, it is not right for Obi and Mechi to promise to serve one term, says El Rufai, and says, I don't think anyone believes them. ADC has not taken position. Tinubu can't win on first ballot. That's on page 4 of the Nigerian Tribune. Do well to get yourself a copy to stay informed.
All right. We'll be moving to our viewer joining us to review some of the headlines of the pages of today's newspaper. It's Ben Shamang, former director of News of Voice of Nigeria. Good morning, Mr. Ben Shamang. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me this morning.
Good morning.
All right, good morning. All right, before we dive into our papers, the front pages of our papers, we'd like to hear from you on a topic we discussed earlier on, toxic politics. We'd like to hear from you. Do you think it is the new normal in our political space?
Honestly, the coming of attack is becoming very, very toxic, and politics itself is an intoxicant. And you can see every fights of flying all sorts of banters here and there. There is more playing here, there. And instead of having some straight kind of politics, we are having corner. Let me put it this way. And people are just pulling down this PhD syndrome, pull him down or pull her down syndrome, because people just want to make some point. At the point you also that it's like they are social media influencers. They would want to just have a presence within the media. And at the point I saw El Rufai yesterday, in most cases you don't see him saying that the media has been bought. The media has been bought. You are given a platform to talk. And what has given you the platform is the media. It's the same media you are castigating. I hope one day people will not come out to say, we hereby, look, let me not use the word, but we are watching. The way he's castigating journalism or broadcasting is just not it at all as we move towards 2027. Yesterday, he was so much vehemently attacking the press. They've bought the press over. They've bought the press over. Who is buying the press? Are you saying the press has no conscience again? That someone would just come and, these are things that the Nigerian Guild of Editors, Nigerian NUJ, Nigerian Union of Journalists should also look at. I could see that the MD of Nigerian Railway Corporation had to profusely apologize to a former Nawocha president because of unparliamentary remarks on someone who was doing her constitutional duty of informing Nigerians, But yesterday he had to to lick his vomit. He ate the humble pie to now come publicly to apologize. One day, I believe that humble pie, lick his after messing up the journalism profession.
All right, Mr. Bennett, let us now look at our papers. Let's look at Daily Trust. Right in front, we have 69 days after launch, farmers await federal government's tractors. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think a long way. It shouldn't a long wait to freedom. Farmers shouldn't wait till December and the tractors will now. Then the stock taking will be that, okay, farmers last year or this year were supplied with so tractors. Yes, supplied with, were they used? Now, except otherwise, then this thing is meant for dry season farming. But have we imbibed it? Do we have, places where outside Kano that you see all year farming? I've not some other places that are imbibing this all year farming. And thank God we always have the rains that are causing even havoc here. To what extent do we harvest this water for dry season farming so that these tractors, mechanized farming, mechanized harvesting, and ways of storage to avoid post-harvest losses? To what extent are we imbibing all of this? Also not just to have the tractors, we also have to have the spare parts. We also have to have, and some tractors are too heavy at the point that they could even get sunk in some swampy areas. So the tractors will have to come in different grades. Just like going to a battle, you have to know what equipment and what environment. As where the place is too swampy, may not be too for tractors. Let's move forward. This lack is a serious issue.
All right. The Northeast Governors Forum, has warned that rising farm input costs could trigger food crisis. What are your thoughts on that?
Quite a lot of things there. If you check, is it the tractors we're talking about? Is it the seedlings we're talking about? Is it the farming environment we're talking about? Is it the fact that the aging population in terms of farming? You see, the youth are virtually moving into town. There's rural urban because the center has been made so attractive by government, by governors. And so the young guys will feel, let me go to the city. And we see Adesina, former African Development Bank president, he will always say that let Nigeria, let Africa agriculture as business and not just subsistence kind of a thing that let me just farm and get 5 bags of maize and feed my family. Why don't you make it so mechanized, so large, and government buys? Government should therefore subsidize agriculture so much, so well, to the extent that when we produce in excess, the same government will now buy, store them in silos. When we have some food crisis, as we have today, you release those grains to the public because they are yours, but not a kind of the imported a kind of a thing. So quite a lot of things are involved in agriculture, the value chain, the production chain, and all that stuff. So there has to be every hand must be on deck to ensure that correct farming is done and correct harvesting, correct storage is done.
All right, Mr. Shamang, let's move to Vanguard newspaper. Right in front, they said petrol consumption down 28%, says Ipman. What are your thoughts on that?
But because we've been living in falsehood, kind of, we've seen a situation where importation was done on paper. You import so much on paper, but nothing is downloaded in any depot. Nothing is therefore taken by any tanker to go and download in filling stations. but government is busy paying. And so when Dangote came on board, many of these things, the realities are now down on us. That all the while we've been living some fake life when they say we've imported liters of petrol in a month, and the consumption pattern is this. So when you look at the vehicles that are plying the road, are they capable of consuming those fuel? So you just see that it's fake, fake, fake. Now that those who are involved, those who know better, those who are doing the business are coming to say, this is how it is. Of course, that is how it is. And we are seeing that NNPC is trying to do all sorts of explanations. At the point they said, no, the management is corrupt. The management is saying, no, there is infighting because they are new. They've uncovered very strange conduct that are criminally inclined. So they want to clean the audience table. And that is why there are people sponsored to fight them and all that stuff. So we're waiting to see how that is going to be. We need government hammer or the koboko, the whip, to ensure that whoever is culprit is brought to book. Why all the while have we been deceived? And who is deceiving us? If it is realized that yes, money was paid to importers and commodities that didn't come, then we should just begin to look at our bill of lading, right from where the thing was imported from, where is the destination, who received, and all that. Then we are reaching somewhere.
All right, then let's take a look at another headline on the Vanguard newspaper. No sabotage in Abuja Kaduna train derailment, says federal government. What is your take on this?
Yeah, well, it's government that is talking now, and when it happened in this same program we were already looking at, was there any sabotage? Even though I've seen some foot in some other areas around Southwest, and some people claim you could see some ions, the rail track. Some have been removed probably to go smelt them for some other items. No one knows. You know. So if government is saying there was no sabotage, they should look at it very well so that there's no cover up. And that's why at the point those days, before even trains could pass, you find the railway workers in one small train, one very little thing like this, very speedy through the track to ensure that everything is safe. Wherever they've seen a problem, they'll just solve that. If a train was coming, they were capable of removing that same thing from the rail. So we expect that there has to be things to change. We expect that in terms of communication, if there is a place where something has been tampered with, within a kilometer, maybe 30 kilometers from where it's done and where a train is, there has to be some signals, some impulses telling the train drivers, look, there is something ahead, so that yes, they take care of all of this to also avoid some accidents, some sabotage. Or will you want to use the airport there or the police so that they go there via helicopters? They fly to see that everything is safe before they move. Those days, you can over throughout that kind of a trend. I was always enjoying it from Kavanchan, Kaduna, I've gone to Mina, go to Ilorin, from Ilorin. I was going to secondary school enjoying the railway. I knew many towns, knew I enjoyed the trend. Let that be.
All right, let us look at the punch. Right in front, we have Rivers local government polls. Atiku demands annulment as Wike reasserts control. What is your take on that?
That is the very toxic nature of the politics, the way we started this program. I I don't know how what was the campaign level of Atiku in Rivers when the elections were to start. What was the involvement of PDP, for example, when the elections were to start? I thought this would have been test ground for those who have left APC, left PDP, to go say, look, we are here for real, and this is our candidate, this is our party, and of course, we're going to show PDP, we're going to show APC that the new breed is here to win. I didn't see anything. Rather, we're talking about APC and PDP. And APC won 20. PDP got 3. So I think that maybe, I'm not in Rivers. I didn't look at that. But the fact they are showing us is that PDP, APC, some jobs there. Some are saying Wike. Now, if it is Wike still with PDP and campaigning for APC? And why can't PDP also take action against Wike? Is it because it's the biggest elephant in the room? You can't push that elephant out. So even if it's going to pull down the roof with everybody inside, I don't know. But I think that uh, on a fair assessment, I think the naval officer has done some jobs there. I didn't see any crisis, no killing, no ballot stuffing, and all. I've not had any anomaly in that election.
Yeah, still on the Punch or
On the
Vanguard,
Punch,
we can
on the
go there.
Vanguard. Okay, let's take a look at this headline on Vanguard. Wage increase, NECA, NLC urge states to emulate Imo Ebonyi. What are your thoughts on this?
Honestly, I think that they should emulate them and even pay very high. You go to places, you see workers are still being paid not even up to the 70,000 minimum wage. They pretend that they can't pay. And like we keep saying, if every state governor were to give every local government council the money as released from Abuja, and these local governments generate their own funds internally, I think that salaries will be paid handsomely. I could see that Lagos State governor, when commissioning some projects, and someone said, look, these are projects by the local government. In other words, that local government chairman is working. He deserves some award. These are people that deserve the award, not those who are making noise here and there. And in the end, they say they are best governor. Best governor in what? Noise making. So yes, they should emulate and pay. Workers will have to have the best well still in service, even though you also have to take care of the pensioners. But the situation where some people, governors will pay pensioners, even when it is contributory pension in some areas, you begin to hit your chest and say, I have done well. People will say it's an achievement. You sing some boreholes here, you say it's an achievement. Uh, a whole lot of things. We ought to have the best in this country, but we are not getting it. I was seeing clips from Obasanjo where he condemned a situation where lawmakers would determine their own salary. You know, nobody knows exactly how much at the national level they collect, you know. Yet they will want us to collect some minimum wage that they will debate and debate and debate. They want us to always manage. Well, they show us how flamboyant they are. Constituency money is still with them. And their legal money still with them. Even though those they say they will employ, uh, senior special assistant, political, senior special, these clerks, secretaries, cooks, drivers, you know, they get this money, but how many do they employ? Quite a lot of questions, and we still carry that Bible, carry that Quran, and swear it's going to be well with Nigeria. Well, God is watching.
Let us revisit the Punch before we go. It says federal government threatens to disconnect Gencos from power grid due to infractions. What is your take on that?
There's always that forward and backward between the federal government and GenCos. GenCos are the electricity generating company. At the point, yes, the GenCos will say they received loans and therefore generated this money. But at the point, the other that would carry this light through transmission, the wiring, so to speak, and sent to consumers. There's a, and therefore, where government is receiving the back that they are not the electricity is not being supplied, government is also looking at it. They facilitate some of these loans for the GenCos. Or the GenCos, they give you the enabling environment. You are not delivering. But the GenCos will also, they generate, but nobody buys. So you rather prefer the little one that is on ground. You keep on overcharging consumers, be they company, individuals, ministries, houses, and all that stuff. Also, if there are infractions, who is afraid of the law? Who is being spared? So the moment you keep on tearing or robbing their ego, of course, Nigerians will suffer. Companies will not work. Employment will not be there. Quite a lot of things. The hospitals will not have what they ought to have. Universities are, are, are owing so much. Government is not releasing money for them to. You go to some universities, it's blackout, blackout, blackout. These are citadels of learning where we ought to have light, light of the brain, light of electricity, and light for the country. But you don't
All right.
just see things happening in many of these places. Go to universities that operate lift systems. Their lifts are not working, especially government-owned ones. For the private ones, not in entering. I went to University of Johannesburg. Then I saw a university. With us, the population is real, real big. Very big,
All
huge
right.
such a population.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ben Shamang, former director of News Voice of Nigeria. Thank you for reviewing the front pages of our national dailies.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, that is all we have on Daybreak this morning. We've come to the end of the show. Thank you for joining us, for watching all the way to the end, and for all those that contributed this morning. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning for another round of Daybreak on Trust TV. I am Habwa Ademikiawa. Thank you for watching.
And I am Mimena Bagudu. Do well to follow us on all of our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream to stay informed. Have a good day. Bye-bye.